Holding on for 3, 2, 1,
So,
and go, Sylvia.
hello, hello, hello. Welcome. I am Sylvia Hayes, and you are watching Good News at Primetime. There is so much that's been going on this past week, and so we have a lot to talk about, especially with elections going on. So with me, I have my co-host, Mr. Reggie Drummer. Hi, Reggie. How are you doing?
Doing great there, Mississippi. We out here in the field. It's an outstanding weekend with only a couple more days before early voting ends. So I'm doing great. Voted early. I'm feeling good.
Oh yes, I voted early also. You know, a lot of people have voted early, and I'm just tickled pink over that. Especially that we have a lot of young people out there this time, and that makes me feel good because so many people have given their lives and sacrificed so much for our rights to vote. And I'm glad that they are taking the opportunity now to get out there and voice their opinions and use their exercise to vote. I'm glad of that. There's so much going on right now.
Oh
So
yes.
yeah, and
This is indeed our most critical and most important election in all of our lifetime.
yeah, it is. And the people are getting so desperate now. I was totally shocked to know that they're actually burning the ballot boxes. I think in California and Boston, I believe it is, they're actually setting the ballot boxes on fire, trying to now if Trump is so worried about his votes, he should be trying to get the votes and count them first, rather than trying to destroy them. Because all those ballots they destroyed, they might have been for him. You never can tell. But
Right.
I know that he knows that he's doomed. No, he's doomed. No, because they're just too desperate. He's doomed, and he
Well,
know it.
he's operating in desperation mode, and in desperation mode, there's so many things that you do uh, to try to, be counterproductive. They're doing all sorts of tricks, you know, even employing the effort and action of other blacks and other celebrities to try to distract and distort what's going on for real.
Oh yeah, yeah, and they're not taking. They're so desperate. Like Pence, what is it? 5 of his people has corona,
Oh,
and he's supposed to be in quarantine, but he's
he
not.
don't
He's
want to go.
going out there, huh?
He don't want to go in quarantine.
Oh no!
All his.
If he has it, he's going to be spreading it too. And
Mhm.
they're supposed to protect the country, but they're out there giving it away, giving the virus away, killing
Well,
people.
they call him quote unquote a necessary worker, an
Uh,
essential worker. That's what
no,
they say.
that if he gonna be an essential worker, he need to have his butt in a spot where he can work, not being out there spreading the germs to everybody. That's what
Oh
he
yeah.
doing. No, essential worker need to be doing essential work at a central spot, not going all over the place. You know,
Oh yeah.
that's just not right. They're just too desperate. Because he done ran out of money, so they got to get out there somehow. You know,
Oh yeah.
you know, virus or no
Well,
virus, we getting out there.
so many people under this current celebrity president, 46 minus one, are up for prison time until they're desperate about keeping him in office.
Oh yeah, and the thing is, a lot of them already gone to prison.
Oh yeah.
A lot of them already gone, and when this section is over, a lot more going. A
Yeah, so
lot
they
more.
got to make sure they got some judges and Supreme Court justice, all this type stuff. Uh, the Supreme Court Justice Amy, I can't think of her right, Barrett.
Mm,
She's been confirmed and everything. They rushed that too, but they didn't make sure that they got that stimulus check for you.
Yeah, that's it. And you know, speaking of stimulus check, I was just researching how much money the Congress and senators get. Do you know they make a lot of money? And the thing is, their pay is coming from our taxes, right? So actually, they are our employees.
They
right?
work for us.
Yes, they work for us. So we're paying for them to work out of our unemployment taxes. You know, because when they give us unemployment, we have to pay taxes on it, and they get it. You know, paying their salaries. They are making. I was looking this up. Let me tell you how much they are making. Okay.
Uh-oh.
The senators in the House of Representatives are making $174,000 a year. Do you know how much money that is? And majority leaders, which I guess, and the Senate, the House Speaker, which is Mitch McConnell, right? He's making
how much How much he get?
Mitch McConnell is getting $223,000 a year.
Whoa.
And that is more than $14,000 a month. More than $14,000 a month. You know, and then they don't want to give us $600. You know, but they're gonna take taxes.
They don't
the taxes
they don't want to give you
our money. They're getting it.
Yeah, they don't want to make sure people get that $15 hour raise, but they making sure. You remember back, this has been about 20 years ago, Congress okayed their own pay raise. So they've been making money, adding money on top of their money for the last at least 20, 30 years. You know what? We might have to run for Congress.
You know it too. And guess what? Their health care plan, affordable health care.
Whoa.
They are using affordable health care for their health care
plan.
Huh?
They got Obamacare? They got Obamacare?
Oh, right now it's Trump care.
Oh. Okay.
It's Trump care. You know, because you know, you can't have Obama's name on something they're getting. It's Trump.
Oh, yeah. But
even though Obama put it in place now,
right?
But it's Trump care.
Hey, you know, since the current celebrity president, 46 minus 1, went to Walter Reed for COVID-19, I guess he had to use Obamacare.
Okay. Yeah, and if not, look, our taxes are paying for it.
Oh yeah.
No, we still paying for his health care. And then for them to not want to give it to us, they're gonna take everything they can from us and use it, line their pockets and everything else, but they don't want to give us anything. You know?
Oh, they don't think anything about the people. Even the people that voted for them, you know, they suffering. The people, you know, they say, well, we won't, you know, you not to critique anybody's judgment, but when you have all the people that say, well, he's bringing jobs, and then they're being laid off, they say he's doing this and he's doing that, and yet they are suffering. You have to ask, you know, sometimes I ask out loud, what are the people seeing that's in their best interest in supporting this particular, you know, celebrity president, 46 minus 1? I know sometimes Uncle Joe, they say he doesn't have a whole lot of things to represent, or he's been in Congress, you know, politics for the last almost 50 years, but at least there are certain things that he has done to put himself in a pathway to say he's done something to help, you know, the forward movement of America.
Yeah, he has, and you know, I was looking at a thing the other night on him. Joe actually is a good man. He has a good heart, and he has helped a lot of people. You know.
Oh yeah.
And it had nothing to do with politics. He really has a good heart, and I like him. just the
Oh,
stuff that I was seeing. I like him. And he got into politics because of Trump. Because he wasn't gonna, not into politics, but he was running because of Trump. Because all
right.
the bad stuff that Trump is doing, that made him say, I can't let this happen to these people.
Right.
So he's out
Well,
there trying to help people.
dividing the nation. Because I know sometimes when I talk to a lot of my Trump pumpers, they're just dieharders. They say, drummer, he's making sure jobs are here, stay in America. He's making sure that they don't overturn Roe versus Wade, that they don't take away our guns. He's made the stock market go up and all that type stuff. But he's also unearthed the badness of America, the underlying issues, racism, and all that. And that puts America in a position where they no longer are considered the fair, just, and righteous country, even though they might not have been fair, just, and righteous. But all the stuff they're doing to black, brown, and indigenous people, and the current celebrity president hasn't said anything or even denounced things when it comes down to racism and just making people feel uncomfortable about being anything other than, gray-haired white guys in America.
Yeah, but you know what? A lot of people say Obama didn't do anything for us, or what did Obama do for black people? One thing I can say, predatory lending. Who were they targeting? Black people, right? He put a stop to it. He stopped the predatory lending so people can keep their houses. But guess what? Trump came in and opened the door so they can do it again. Because he's in real estate. He's in real estate. So, he want to take everything he can from everybody. And you know what? Jared Kushner's dad was in real estate. And since he done got out of prison, he's going back into it. So, and the stuff that Trump is doing is to help people in real estate. So they gonna make a profit off of it. They gonna make a profit.
The rich and the ultra rich have just gotten stronger under this administration. And you know what? It's so in your face. We making money. We really don't care about you. We making money. We really don't care about you. So when the average American person, unless they got a lot of hate and animosity in their hearts against black, brown, indigenous, and poor, and the uneducated, they're gonna be in a worse boat than they can imagine. Because once they put the thumb on, one thing about black and brown people, we kind of used to people putting the thumb on. But poor white, the miseducated, and the uninformed, they were really starting to feel the clinches of a system that's not helping them. A lot of those jobs that were promised back in 2016 have not materialized. A lot of the things that he said he would do have not materialized. Probably the only thing that's really shaped up was the fact, and he didn't promise that, was they got 3 Supreme Court justices, conservatives. And
but you know what? They got he not only did he do the Supreme Court judges, but a lot of the other judges, it was like 100 and some other judges that Trump get to a point. But you know what? Mitch McConnell would not let Obama do it. Those positions was available, and they would not let Obama do it. They did him wrong. They did him wrong. But I tell you one thing that Trump did that he promised, he was going to drain the swamp. Yeah, he said he's going to drain the swamp, and guess what? He's draining. He's draining and putting it all in his pockets and his family pockets and his friends' pockets. He's draining.
He sucked it up the swamp, walked on the Constitution, has defaced America. He's done so much, and I think maybe 50, 100 years from now, when they look at his legacy is an America surviving, they look at what did he do to cripple, you know, the forward movement of the average American. Even when people look at the Obama administration, they say, well, he didn't do anything. Well, if he didn't do anything, there would not be such an effort to overthrow what we call Obamacare. Okay. Now, one of the things too, because now more people are paying attention to voting, uh, we're starting to see how every other aspect of voting plays a part, not just the executive branch, or we got to focus on the legislative branch and the judicial branch, with these judges being appointed, uh, with the Senate seat up for election. And a lot of people did not participate. And guess what? Not back in 2008, we were so happy that we got a black president that we did not give him any support. You know, he was out there by himself. You know, the Congress was not, you know, was they were outgunned in the Congress and they were outgunned in the Senate. So anything that he put out, it was very difficult or extremely difficult for him to make it happen. Even when he had an opportunity to nominate a Supreme Court justice, they shut it down. They wouldn't even hear it. They wouldn't even entertain it. Okay, he had a black woman and he had another guy. I forgot, but both of those people would have been eligible to be on the Supreme Court. But because of politics, they didn't. They didn't even. They didn't even entertain.
Right.
Entertain it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and they didn't want him to be successful. Now, even though he did get people jobs, cause you know when Obama got in, people were losing their jobs. Their 401k was going down the drain. You know, people were moving into the house with their parents and all this other stuff. But he came
Yeah.
back. You know, he made it for them easier for them to live. He brought back the automobiles. You know, remember the buyback thing? He made
Yep.
it easier for
So,
people to live. You know, so they can't say that he didn't do anything for them because a lot of people benefited from it. A lot of people refinanced their homes at a lower interest rate so they could stay in their homes. So he
right.
helped people, you know, but then he did have the obstacle, you know, they didn't want him to succeed.
All
They
right.
they kept trying to block him, you know.
Right.
So he did what he could. You know, he did what he could. And Joe Biden was right there with him. He did what he could. You know, they
Right.
wouldn't let him do too much. You know, but then, you know, Trump, he ain't doing it. He went through taking out everything, making the pollution worse. That's why we having
Yeah.
all these storms probably, you know,
We got
because of it.
fires all over the West Coast. We got storms all on the southern part of the United States. We got extreme uh, winters about to approach the northern part of the United States. So you would think that this, well, you know what? I'm not going to put the American people down. One of the things that I believe that because of how this current administration has polarized people, the majority of Americans don't feel the way that we see or we think Americans feel. Okay, a lot of people when you look in the street, even when we look at a lot of the civil unrest, there are more white Americans participating in the civil unrest. And they're not Antifa. These are regular people that have friends that are Asian Americans, Black Americans, Brown Americans, you know, and they see what's been going on and they're in the streets. Now, the media, rather than tell the truth, they portray the narrative. I was just looking at USA Today, but they portray the narrative to be that black folk are out in the streets tearing stuff up. Black folk are out in the streets protesting George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, you know, the sister up there in Kentucky, you know, all this stuff and looting and stealing. And the people are saying they understand and they see that those things are not true. So the American people are waking up. You just woke up a sleeping giant when you attack America, because even in America, with all its flaws, with all of its hiccups, when it comes time and people start to feel that they too are put in a position that's not healthy for them, their family, and their future, they fight back. And they fight back and team up together.
Yeah, yeah, they do. So hopefully somebody can win. Yep, hopefully. But I don't know. With them being so desperate, I is I kind of I don't want to say stress is building up for what's going to happen after the election, because I know Trump is going to do some bad things and his people are going to be out there doing some bad things because they've already said it. Because a friend of mine from the north said that that Trump already told him if he lose, start shooting. So they ain't gonna do that. And you know what? Trump want the results on Tuesday night. He don't want to wait for all those other ballots to get counted. He wants the results on Tuesday night.
Right. Well,
so he's scared.
One of the things, and especially black people, we've seen the intimidation factor on voting in this century, and we saw it before. Okay, we've seen this since Reconstruction. Anytime you have the forward movement of black and brown people, America, a lot of people, not all of them, but a lot of them had some problems with that. Well, one of the things that's happening now, with all those threats, they are mailing things to people, telling them that we can see who you voted for. And if you vote for anything or support anyone other than our administration, you're going to have some problems. We've seen attacks or quote unquote, the thought of attacks at the polls. We're going to be doing this. We're going to be doing this. Well, this has been a tactic for the fear mongers in America since day one.
Yeah.
Try to intimidate, to try to do anything that it would take to make your vote not count or make you not want to vote. They're doing things from telling people what shirts and what they can wear. So this is why we're telling people to vote early. Get this stuff out of the way. In Georgia, we've got about 3 more days of early voting.
Yeah.
We got all day. Tomorrow is Wednesday. We got Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. You need to go to the polls and make sure you do it early before 7 o'clock. Now,
but if they're in line at 7 o'clock, they can still vote.
Yeah, up until then. And if they're in line, and we can't let people intimidate us. If you see, a lot of people, some older people did not know they did not have to stand in line. But these are areas where black and brown people are not empowered. If you look at Fulton County, they've done a great job of making sure that black folk are voting. You got free rides to the poll. I was voting in East Point yesterday. I voted early. They got all sorts of things to help the people, rides to the polls and things of that nature. Now, in some places around the United States, you look at whether it's Arkansas, down in Alabama, they intimidate people. They tell them, hey, and they did the same thing during John Lewis's time, with asking black folks how many bubbles are in a bar of soap. Just stupid stuff. Trying to intimidate you, trying to make you feel bad, trying to make you feel inferior. But black folk are standing up. I've seen young people taking the elderly to the polls, making sure that they voted, got in line, or were able to go to the front of the line. So our people are being more resilient, even though all these things are going out to suppress and intimidate black and brown people during this election. We're standing up. We hadn't stood up this strong since a long time. And
Yeah,
one
you're
of the
right.
things,
And you know what? They're even some people are out there carrying guns with them, to
right?
intimidate people. They're
Oh
carrying
yeah,
guns, and they know they're not supposed to do that. So I'm gonna challenge you guys. If you see anything, take pictures of it. If you can't get a hold to the elected officials, shame them. At least post it. This person is carrying a gun. At least, so something can be done. Somebody know what they're doing. And another thing, they are still telling people they can't vote if they have on a Black Lives shirt. And that is
right.
not right. If someone tells you you
So,
cannot vote because you have a Black Lives shirt, you ask for the supervisor, because a Black Lives Matter shirt is not political. It's a statement. It's a social statement. Social,
well,
you know, activation, whatever. But it's not political, and you
right.
can
And
wear it.
but that's again intimidating factors. And I don't think our people are backing down, meaning that it's we're being smart enough to know, and these are little small areas where people, because they don't know the rules of the game, they
Right.
feel that they can see anything to anyone. Like I said, back in the day, they would say, "Hey, I remember my mother told me." The lady asked her, "Girl, can you read? If you're gonna put an X, put it over here." And these were ignorant people. And in that particular time, ignorant white people. So a lot of times, ignorant white people will say or do anything. You can't wear that. You can't wear that. But if you know, you don't have to get into a verbal exchange with them. All you have to do is request to see their supervisor. Okay? And
Exactly.
it doesn't matter if you're in Georgia, Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, all these little hillbilly places. You have to stand your ground, and you have to deflate the initiative to scare us away from the polls. This is one reason we asking people to go early. The earlier you vote, see, the people that get intimidated will wait till the last minute. And if
Yeah.
somebody texts you, you only got about 30 minutes for your lunch. You hope you can make it through and get in and out. Vote early. Vote early. Vote
Mm,
early. Then you don't have these problems. Even when the problems come, you got time. You know what I'm saying? You
yeah.
got time.
Yeah. And make sure you're going to the right place.
Yes.
Because a lot of times you go into the wrong place to vote, and then you gotta go somewhere else and stand in a long line. If you've been in line for 4 hours and you get up there and they say you can't vote here, then you got to go somewhere else and stand in line. You might be too late.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
check to make sure you're going to the right place. And take your ID. Because they're gonna
Right.
ask you your ID. And you can go to my voters page sos.ga.gov for
Right.
Georgia, and other places, wherever other states you go into, Secretary of State, try it. See where you have to vote to at.
Well, you know what? There are so many things out there to help with the forward movement of voting. Uh, there are organizations like NACA, which is NACA.org. They're making sure that people have rides to the polls. They're
Yeah,
making sure
yeah.
that people are educated. There's so much stuff. And this is where the young people and the old people got to come together. A lot of the older people, some of them want to wait and go on November the 3rd. Okay? We're
Mm-hmm.
encouraging people to not necessarily wait until the last minute. Now, if you got a lot of resilience and you don't mind dealing with a whole lot of stuff, a whole lot of drama, and this and that, vote then. But you got 3 days to get your vote in. Okay? We encourage people to doing a drop off. In the ballot, you got to do that. If you did early voting, you need to get that out of the way. You can't wait until the last minute. Procrastination. And doing early voting, we encourage people. We actually had demonstration where we told people fill out your paperwork properly. I think I did about 10 mail-in ballots for seniors, people like my mom, a couple aunts, had to make sure the signature was tight, right, make sure that it was sealed, make a whole lot of things. So we encouraging people to be proactive. Don't wait until the last minute. Okay,
Yeah.
right now you got 3 days.
If
Okay,
you
you
have,
should have already mailed your ballot in.
yeah, if you have a mail-in ballot, right now I would suggest that you take it and drop it off rather than trying to mail it in, because ain't no telling what Trump's goons going to be doing, to stop
Yeah,
your vote from being counted. Take
Yeah.
it to take it to a drop-off box. You don't have to stand in line. Just drop it off, or take it to the registrar's office. So right now it's pushing real close. I wouldn't really want to take a chance of putting it in mail. It may get there, but
And
you know,
may not.
yeah, because Trump already put his postmaster in place to keep you from
Yeah.
getting the votes in time.
You know, I see the mailman now, but they have actually had mailmen to, get and throw away these ballot boxes in some of these little rinky-dink towns, all these places. So this is the thing. If right now, this is just me, I wouldn't even mail a ballot in, because when you mail a ballot in, you got to do some type of check and follow up on that ballot. Okay. Right now, most people don't have enough time to do that. Okay. Tomorrow is Wednesday. Okay. So the best thing to do is drop it into the drop-off station, wherever they are. And as a people, we have to stop waiting to the last minute. Okay. If you wait on the last minute, guess what's going to happen? You're going to be at the mercy of whatever shows up. You will be at the mercy of whatever shows up. So that way, if somebody's working the poll and they got a bad day, they got an attitude, they racist, they got problems at the house, and this could be black, brown, white, poor, misinformed people. They can cause additional problems that would not have been caused if you had voted early. Okay, so the first thing, if you trying to mail something in, don't do that. Take it in and drop it off. Okay. Now, if you already signed up for a mail-in ballot or an absentee ballot, guess what? If you're gonna wait to the last minute, you're gonna have to bring that ballot to the poll. Okay? You got to bring that ballot to the poll. So these are things that we have to think about. People that procrastinate put themselves in a very compromised position. If you don't know what polls you need to go to, you hadn't gone to the Secretary of State app or downloaded the app and saw, where do I vote? Just because you voted early at one location does not mean that that poll is going to be open for voting on the 3rd of November. Okay?
Right.
And we have to start using our head and do things in advance. Don't wait until the last. We are at the last minute. If you hadn't voted now, and I waited, I voted yesterday. There were 4 days remaining before early voting, and I still had a shot for Tuesday, but I voted early. So we got to be proactive. I didn't have any problems. It took me about 15 minutes to get in and get out. Okay? The longer you wait, anticipate problems. Okay? Especially if you live outside of Atlanta or a black and brown community that's focused on making sure black and brown people are not intimidated. If you live in communities where you got those old, corrupted folk, they're going to tell you all kind of crazy stuff. They're going to try to either keep you or put you in a position so that you won't vote, or that they can intimidate you. Now, as black, brown people, we have to be more intelligent. That's why we asking people to do all this stuff in advance. Okay, vote early. You got what? 3 days to vote early. If you're trying to mail something in, don't do it. Take it and drop it off. Okay?
Yeah.
We got to start thinking. And thinking is not illegal. It's just that most of the people that are doing any form of voter intimidation, they anticipate our emotional reaction. Okay? they anticipate our emotion, and this is the standard operating procedure for people that are, whether it be racist people or even unintentionally black folk that hinder the forward progress and movement of others. Okay?
Yeah, and you got to make sure when you drop it off in a box, it is an official ballot box, because they have put some false ones up there, trying to
Yeah,
collect those ballots.
yeah. And it's best that you drop it off during the day. Goodness. I know some people got to work and all this stuff. Drop it off during the day, prime time, because there are boxes within. Say if you had to drop it off to your courthouse, it's no, our folk have to be smarter. If you are slacking, you need to ask people, but drop it off early. The earlier you do it, the better.
Yeah.
You're doing the day, because there are people in Boston. They set fire to some boxes,
Yeah.
to the ballot boxes. People in California have been stealing ballot boxes. You got a lot of stupid people just doing dumb things. So we got to be proactive if you want to ensure the sanctity of the vote. And this is a constitutional thing, our right to vote. Okay, even when it comes down to prior to Reconstruction, I think that's the 15th Amendment, even with women with the 19th Amendment, the right to vote and the sanctity of voting. Because, see, right now, we are in a system that's violating the Constitution of the United States of America. When we look at involving foreign entities, and this is why we have to be paying attention on all fronts. There are people being manipulated even before they get to the polls.
Yeah.
When you look at a lot of our celebrities, whether it be Ice Cube, what's the guy, 50 Cent, Puff Daddy, Kanye West. Now, some of them, especially Ice Cube, they didn't say they was gonna work or cross over and vote for Donald Trump. But guess what happened? Because the media twisted it and started putting things out there on social media that says Snoop Dogg or Ice Cube or Lil Wayne supports Donald Trump. And this is why you got to talk to our young people, because this false news, this fake news is being put out there, and it's putting our people in a position, because that's a part of voter suppression. So you
But
can
you
put
know
false
what?
information.
They are actually doing some false stuff too, because I know Jared had he put out some stuff that wasn't real about those entertainers,
Oh
saying,
yeah,
trying to make people think that they're supporting them, and they're not.
yeah. Yeah.
So
Well, we gotta be ready for distraction. These are what we call October surprises. These are surprises. These are tactics and techniques that have been used in the past. Okay, that's why it's critical that we, because sometimes we get overly trusting of the media. Okay, and the media right now is just not CNN, Fox News, NBC, CBS. The media is social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. There are more people with channels out there that's polluting the mind of a lot of our people. And then that puts us in a position where we wake up at the last minute finding the truth. And at this point in this campaign, we got to be smarter.
but you know what? I think some of those people in the White House are delusional too.
I
They're
would
delusional. I mean, I was looking at Jared Kushner basically saying black folks are lazy. They don't want to be successful in life. How can you say that? He is so delusional. I mean, I guess he wants us to be like his daddy, who went to jail for tax evasion and all this other criminal stuff. That
yes.
he had a silver spoon in his mouth, and he expect people to be like him. Everybody's not like that, because it were people like him and Trump who prevented people from being successful. you know, when I was coming up, it wasn't no black people working in the bank. Black person couldn't work in the bank. It was all white. Black person couldn't. There were a lot of jobs black people couldn't do. You know, and it ain't that if we didn't want to, that they wouldn't allow it. They had control of all the jobs and all the opportunities, even the redlining stuff. If we wanted to have a nice house in one community, they tell us no. You know,
Right.
and,
Well, the intimidating factor, you know, one of the things, in a way, the modern day black person was in somewhat of a delusion. You know, a lot of younger people just finding out what all this trickery is, because you know, and you know, it's time. You know, they say, well, you know, I've got white friends, I got Asian friends, and this and that and this and that. Why are these people trying to prevent me from moving forward? Well, and then some people say, well, you know, y'all need to get over slavery and you need to get over all this stuff. But what's happening now? People are seeing that there are still people that go out of their way to interrupt the forward movement of black people. Now, when you go out purposely to interrupt or try to stall the forward movement of black people. You know, going back to the jobs that black people had, even when they had affirmative action in states like Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, South Carolina, they would, you know, the federal government would say, you got to hire so many ones to do this, so many ones to do this. They would still bring the intimidation factor in and say, well, you know, if it's going to be some Negroes working here, they're going to be under me. You know, and this was the thinking process of these people. I don't care if you had a college degree or the most lowest person, which was a white person at that particular time, felt that they should be in charge of you. And these things still exist, but guess what? I would believe the forward movement of America will be determined in this election. You know, there are younger people with more open minds, and they see what's been happening. Even though now, off the record, I say Donald Trump probably might not even buy into a lot of his own rhetoric, but he was able to resurrect the dilapidated minds of Americans that were determined or believed that because of the Obama administration, black folk was being put in a situation that they were going to be left behind. Instead of getting off their butt and going to work, a lot of poor, impoverished, and unsuccessful white people got invigorated when this president, this celebrity president, 46 minus one, that really doesn't really care about poor white people. Okay?
Yeah.
He just used them as pawns to move his campaign forward. And some of them are starting to wake up, because when you see poor white people that get COVID-19, they're like, I just don't know how I did it. He told us it was all right. We weren't going to be affected. And mama called it when mama called it, and then the dog called it, and I called it, you know, then she died. Now, some of these folks are getting the memo. Okay? Maybe he's the Pharaoh. We are the children. And what's happening now? People that followed that Pharaoh and did not care. Guess what happened to them? They died following the Pharaoh. And when he took them up to that river, they were trying to cross over. What happened? They drowned, and the Pharaoh said, hey, we can get over there too. We can get over there too. And you see what happened. So this is what's happening in America.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And a lot of people are following them too. A lot of them, they still doing what he say do. They not caring, because like you said, he was a Pharaoh. So I don't know. But I hope a lot of them are waking up though.
Well, you know, one of the things, and I think America is not that backwards, okay?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I got enough faith in the institution of America. Even though it was founded on some jacked up principles, I believe that if you're going to say, you know, one of the things we call into action now is all our quote unquote evangelical brothers and sisters. They did it before, where they came and said, you know what, this is not right. Okay, this is not right. In America, I know the politicians, the last politician, the last Republican that stood up to this garbage was John McCain. Okay,
Yeah.
the rest of them, some of them starting to crawl out from under the woodwork because they smell the stench, and they saying to themselves, you know what, I'm not gonna let this current celebrity president manhandle me. And these are white, conservative, alpha male Republicans that have chowed down, cowed under, and become weak.
Yeah, and you know what? John McCain is the only Republican that I know of that stood up to Trump. Because he was the one that kept them from doing Obamacare, bringing it down. He voted no, and when he did that, he was on Trump's hit list. That's why he didn't like him. And talk about it. Yeah, because he wanted to bring it down. And McCain knew that Obamacare was a good thing for people. He knew it.
Well, one thing that's happening now, people are starting to see the veil is being removed. Like I said, the Pharaoh. People are looking, they saying, you know what? Why should I make myself suffer when I don't have to? Following this regime, supporting this administration, and trying to interfere with the forward movement of a group of people. Now, when people understand that or see that, it puts them in a position where they got to start thinking. Because you got to ask yourself, what side of history do you want to be on? Do you want to be on the side of history that impedes the forward movement of America? And, I have to look at the foreign entities that are looking for the undermining of America. If you look at China and Russia, in the last 40 years, both of those countries have gone through a reformation, a restructuring. Okay? The Cold War is not really over, and some people, the soldiers, when Putin put a price tag on the heads of American soldiers, and the president of the United States act like it wasn't nothing.
Still kissing up to him. Yeah, see, he's still kissing up to him. That, to me, that was a sign right there. He needs to go because there's so many people have military families,
Right.
Then to say, I'm gonna let you put my child in danger, huh?
Yeah, that's an act of treason right there. They would have shot him on the spot, put him on the firing squad. Anybody that did something like that. But because of see, America is being purged right now. Okay, with all the stuff that's going on in America, when you look at police reform, teachers reform, COVID-19, you would think that the average American will humble themselves if they say they believe in creation. They say we don't want to abort the baby. We want to protect ourselves. They believe in this Constitution of they representing anything that the forefathers represented, even as black and brown people, even with us knowing that these folks were slave owners. Guess what? That Constitution is still a powerful document. And for this president to step on it and use it like it was toilet paper, it questions your patriotism as an American. Yeah, you got the freedom of speech. People say, we tired of being politically correct. They trying to steal our guns. And then they trying to make sure the babies they aborting all these babies. Well, if they really, really, really cared, I had a conversation with a brother earlier. It cared about aborted babies. They probably would have cared 500 years ago when a lot of black babies was aborted because somebody said, well, that baby don't look white. What you think they do?
Now they trying to prevent it, but what were they doing way back when? They were aborting babies. and giving them.
Oh yeah.
They were
Like it wasn't.
sterilizing. They were sterilizing women against their will, without them knowing it. Sometimes, forcing them to be on birth control and all this other kind of stuff. Whatever is convenient for them.
At the time, burning them at the stake. Well, you know what? Even when you get, it's still around slavery time.
No,
White male.
This was back in the 50s and 60s and something like that. Because I had a woman on my show years ago. She was on my show. She got raped by somebody. I think it might have been a relative or somebody. 14 years old. She got pregnant. No, she had the baby, and then they forced her sterilization. They sterilized her so she won't have any more kids. 14 years old.
Well,
so they forced it on her. Then a lot of other women have been forced sterilization.
Yeah.
And some of them got sterilized and didn't even know it.
Right. Well, now that's a hip, not just get into the abortion thing, but I think about in Massachusetts, Salem, Massachusetts, if a young woman was thought of to be a witch, this is how backwards, this was back then. Now, if you really cared about aborting babies, because they thought this young woman was a witch, and the baby, the unborn baby, was going to turn into a warlock or a wolf, they killed the woman and they killed the baby. So America now they act like, we are holier than thou. We don't want abortion. We want lives to matter. But the average, when you look at a woman's right to choose, okay? Now, no one's putting a lot of stress on the men. Nobody's telling men that if they catch them playing with themselves in the shower and masturbating, that they killing babies, okay? Now, if you just took the Old Testament just like it's supposed, like how it is, men aren't supposed to do that. But yet, they don't consider that to be a crime. Now, fast forward, it's all about the control of the woman because, the man is saying we can't have no responsibility. You can't put a lot of responsibility on men, especially white men. White men can go out and back in slavery impregnate black women. If the white man said, I didn't really want that baby, they kill that baby. Okay? Yeah. This is what they did in slavery. Okay? If there was a baby, and look how many babies, white babies, got killed because ignorant white men thought, guess what? That a slave had snuck up in the house and got with Amy or Betty or Becky. And they killed that baby. Now, they wasn't thinking about abortion then. They wasn't thinking about the evil of abortion. They just took what they had and they said, you know what? We're not going to have a black baby. Now, if you look at some of the records of babies that was killed and aborted 400 or 500 years ago, a lot of those babies were killed and aborted out of white ignorance.
Mm-hmm. And then too, some of those slave women, they had white babies and then they sold them. They sold the baby off. They got them pregnant and they sold the baby. So I don't understand their mentality.
A lot of things in America we found to be just a total hypocrisy. When you look at anything, when you look at in God we trust. Mm-hmm. Now, that's like an oxymoron because it's not really that. And I love America. I don't want anyone to get me wrong, but we know that over here in America, many things have been interpreted by the people in power. If you look at the Constitution and you took it for what it was, there would be no need to have any other amendment.
But let me tell you this. Now, do you know the real reason why they want to prevent abortions? Because it's too many black and brown babies are being born. They're overthrowing the white ones.
Well, if you look at
Hispanic people that come over here and they complain about them having babies, and the white
Yeah.
people are not having as many babies.
Many
And
babies. But look,
they want to
now,
stop it.
now,
They want women to have those babies.
now under this administration, they saying more black folks and more brown people having abortion. See, it's so much misinformation, so many twisted things that they put out, because the hypocrisy is saying, white girls are not really having a lot of babies. It's the black, brown people having all these babies, and they aborting them because they're having all this sex. It's
But
America's.
it's the white
They
people
gonna get a
who are
whip.
having all the babies. They can afford the abortions. Yeah, they'll go off and have an abortion and don't tell anybody.
No,
Yeah, that's what it is. They can afford. They have the money to pay for it, and whereas the black people, morally, they don't want to kill a baby.
right.
And then two, they can't do it financially. They can't afford it. So what do? They have the baby.
Yeah. Well, a lot of things that we're finding out are untrue because if there were so many now quote unquote welfare, they say all the black folks got their babies on welfare and we supporting the baby. And then on the other side, they push them out the other side of the mouth. They're saying they aborting all the babies. Now it's either or. But because there's so many lies, I feel like the Zango. We about to find the truth out.
Yeah.
Because we've been lied to so much about so much. If everything you found out was a lie, and I love America, okay?
Yeah.
There's no other place I would love to live in than this country. I'll visit places, but America, I think it's the land of opportunity and everything. But there's so much deception because people that are either want to maintain a particular status quo and don't want to move with the forward movement. See, everything's being, like I said, China had to be reformed, Russia had to be reformed, and the United States of America is being reformed. Now, there are certain people that they want to keep the statues up. They want to make and ensure that black folk are intimidated. And other folk are coming into the country and they're looking, they're saying to themselves, why are they doing this? Even within families, when you start looking at conservative families, they're starting to look and say to themselves, why is this happening? Okay? Why are people going out of their way to suppress the forward movement of these particular people, especially these black people? Even when we talk about Black Lives Matter.
They are afraid of them rising up. They don't want them to be successful because it makes them feel intimidated to have a black people, to run so much stuff and have so much power. They don't want that. They don't want
power. We are very forgiving people. Black folk are not the people that if they ever get power or ever get strength, we're not the people that's gonna try to make people feel bad. Anytime you go into a black community, I don't care who it is, you could be a runaway white boy or a runaway white girl. Guess what happens? Black folk will embrace you.
Yeah.
Okay, they will bring you in the community. Try to go up into a neighborhood and you black and try to assimilate. Now, some trailer parks might let you in, but they're not gonna let you in. Black people will accept anybody in their neighborhood, even people that have businesses. You're not gonna have people coming from other countries that's gonna set up a store in a white community unless the white people say it's okay. They might let you come in. They say, well, no, you're gonna let them in, but I bet you they're making money off you. You're not gonna come in and take over and do what other people are doing in our community. When I look at many communities, I love my brothers, my Pakistan brothers, my Indian brothers, my even brothers from Africa, whether it be Nigerians, Liberians, are coming to America. Black people will tolerate, accept anybody. The white insurance man could walk around the neighborhood 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And he wasn't selling insurance.
Yeah, and nobody will bother him. But
nobody bother.
Let a black person do it at dawn.
Yeah, you don't even get ran out of town, hung, killed, or something. You see, there's that's different when it comes to the malicious behavior of people other than black people. We are not malicious people. Even when people, most of the time, if somebody get hurt, maimed in the black community, it's black on black crime.
Yeah.
So,
And you know what, too? They're so forgiving. You let a white person kill the black people or kill the whole family, somebody gonna say, "We forgive you. We
we
forgive
want to
you."
hug you.
Then
You know,
let
I
a
want to
black
fix your
person
hair.
kill a white person. You got the lynch mob.
Yeah, we want to fix your hair. We want to make you sure you're all right. But that's us. Now,
Yeah.
like you say, any other race of people, even in situations where white people were known to have committed a crime against each other, they would take it upon themselves to rule harsh judgment on black folk for no reason at all.
Yep. Do it all the time. All the time.
So
even this woman who killed her children, blaming on the black man.
oh yeah. And you think what's the lady down in Alabama, Emmett Till's mother? That lady admitted that she suffered. I think on her dying bed with her suffering, she finally admitted that she had told a lie.
Mm-hmm.
And
And
got
had this
this
14-year-old child killed like he
kid.
was.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. They do it.
So there are so many instances, and when I talk to my white evangelical brothers and sisters, repentance is going to be a must if you're going to enter the pearly gates heaven. I mean, I'm surprised at how many, you know, people that believe that they can continue to do the things that they're doing. Intimidation, uh, the hypocrisy, and the hope that the Creator is going to allow them a seat in any kingdom other than hell.
Right. Yeah, they got to do some serious repenting.
Oh yeah.
Serious repenting. And
Yeah.
even with this rioting they're doing now, trying to blame it on black people. And all
Oh
they
yeah.
want to do is they want peace, they want justice, they want to be treated right. And then white people are still trying to do them wrong. Go out there and rioting and burning up stuff and blaming it on the black folks. That they still doing it wrong. They still doing it wrong.
Yeah. Well, one thing, whatever side of history someone's on, okay? Even back in the day when the Pharaoh was spared until the last end of the game. But the people that followed the Pharaoh and supported the Pharaoh, guess what? They died throughout the process. I don't know what number of the plague we currently in, but if you follow that Pharaoh, the Pharaoh will be spared. And the Pharaoh will be like, everything's good over here. Everything's good over here. We look good. And then when that day comes, and you got to go through that water, and they split that water. The Creator splits that water, or whatever this thing is, put one on this side and one on this side, and you following the wrong person, you're on the wrong side of history, guess what? You're going to pay, not from the people, but from the Creator itself.
Yep. Yeah. And then a lot of times people actually they suffer anyway because of the things they did before they die. A lot of them do, and some of them they have this guilt. So it'll be with them for a while. And don't let somebody good do something good for them when they mistreated them. They show enough
Oh yeah.
guilt.
Well, black people here in America have, and I check myself sometimes because I've had white people that say, "Drummer, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you could forgive white people." White people know that they can't do it. They don't understand how we can do it. Okay? And the children of the evil one now are rising up and saying, "Daddy, granddaddy." I had a woman She said, I don't even take my kids because he's in an interracial relationship. She says, I don't in marriage. She don't take her kids around her parents. Her mother has to visit her at her house because the daddy is so racist. And she
Yeah.
don't want her kids to be around that type. And they only have one child, and that's her. So a lot of, you know, people are stepping up to the plate and they're saying to themselves, this is not right, this is not just, and this is not righteous. You know,
Right.
we say over here, when the rules of mankind become unfair, unrealistic, unjust, unfair, and no more righteous, that's when the creator himself gets into the picture. And when the creator gets into the picture, it's gonna level everything up without the people doing anything.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think is causing it? The inferiority complex?
Well, so many things. You know, in order to understand uh, the behavior of white supremacist behavior, uh, well, I think one guy said, we won't understand nothing until we understand why, until we understand white supremacy. Nothing makes sense, okay? Nothing
Yeah.
makes sense that they do. Nothing makes sense that they say. Nothing makes sense of their behavior. Now, this is something that we didn't cause. This is something that innately is within them. Now,
Yeah.
they're going to have to do what? Repent, regroup in order to make an adjustment because the planet itself is retaliating against that type of behavior.
Yeah, it is. You know, bad behavior all as a whole. And the thing is, the good people have to suffer too. That's the
Yeah.
thing.
Well, you better make sure you're prayed up, you know, because, uh, you know, like back in the days of the pharaohs, there were good people that suffered because they were not in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing that they were supposed to be doing, and they knew what they were supposed to be doing, but yet they allowed the people in power at the time to dictate their behavior.
Yeah, yeah. So we're winding up, Reggie. We only have a few more minutes left. I just want to tell everybody, get out and vote and love people. No, there's no reason to hate. You don't hate people because of their color. The skin color, God did that. You know, so don't hate people because of their color. Don't mistreat people because of their color. And don't feel like you're so superior over anybody else because just like you rose up, you can fall too. You know,
Yeah.
you never can tell. You can fall, and you will be that person you call yourself hating will be standing up above you, and you ain't gonna like it. So love everybody. Vote. We got to vote because there are some people who's gonna refuse to hate, who's gonna refuse to love and treat everybody right. So you got to get out there and vote. We only have a couple more days for early voting. Make sure you find the right spot. Make sure your voting place is in your head and you know exactly where you're going to vote because they will try to turn you around and say you can't vote even though you've been in line for 2 or 3 hours or 6 hours. Make sure you don't have any Republican or Democratic clothing on. No, because they will turn you away. Okay, no hats on and saying I vote for Biden or any of that kind of stuff. But if you have on a Black Lives Matter shirt, you can vote. And if somebody say you can't vote because you have that shirt on, you ask for your supervisor. Ask for a supervisor so they can say, okay, you can do that. Okay. If you made a mistake on your ballot, you can go real quick and get another one and turn it in. Okay. And if you have any questions or comments about this show, this is a live and kicking production. So give us a call, ring, not a call, email us at alive.kickingproduction. That's KICKIN productions@gmail.com. alive.kickingproductions@gmail.com. And while we're talking about, I have my book. So don't forget, you can get this book, Power Thoughts. It is very powerful. It is educational. It will inspire you to do well in life. It has helped so many people already. I am really tickled to death over the comments that people have said about this book because they really love it and it's helping them and helping their children. So get the book, lulu.com, called Power Thoughts, lulu.com. Go to the bookstore, hit bookstore, and then search Power Thoughts by Sylvia Hayes. And you can get this book at lulu.com. You have any last thoughts before we go off?
Take care of yourself at all times. Protect yourself at all times. And don't give up.
Yeah, definitely don't give up. And just remember, you're going to vote for the people who take care of you. And those who going out there giving that virus away, they're not taking care of you. Okay? So until then, this is Sylvia Hayes and Reggie Drama with Good News at Primetime. So we'll see you next week, if not Saturday. Take care.
And next week is voting day, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yep. Don't forget, you got to get out there. If you're going to stand in line, take some food and a chair with you, some water, because it may be a while. Take care.